I've only told this story once before, and I still don't know if I regret it. It happened 10 years ago, but there are nights I wake up, heart pounding, because I think I've heard it again, that knock. Always just once. Just one knock. Like a fingertip against glass, or bone against wood. I lived alone back then. Small house, just outside of town, the kind of place you forget how far out it really is until you lose cell signal halfway down the road. I'd bought it cheap from an old man who seemed far too eager to sell. I thought I was lucky. A little fixer-upper for a bachelor who didn't need much. The first time I heard it, it was around 3 a.m. I'd just gone to bed after working late. The house was quiet, too quiet really, the kind of silence where you can hear the faint hum of the refrigerator down the hall. And then, knock. Just one. From the back door. Not loud. Not frantic. Just one knock. I sat up. Waited. Nothing. You ever have that moment when your body tenses before your brain catches up? Like your skin knows something you don't. That's how it felt. My ears were straining, heart starting to race, but nothing else followed. No second knock. No footsteps. I got up. Walked through the kitchen, flipped on the light over the sink, and looked out the back window. Nothing. Just the empty yard, the tree line about 30 yards back, swaying in the breeze. Maybe I imagined it, I told myself. Maybe it was the fridge making a new noise, or something shifting outside. I went back to bed. And for a few days, that was it. But then came the second knock. 3 nights later. Same time. Same sound. Just one knock. This time, I didn't move. I lay there in bed, pretending I hadn't heard it. I pulled the blanket up a little higher, my eyes wide open, fixed on the dark ceiling. And still nothing followed. Now, I should mention something here. I'd always been a skeptic. I never believed in ghosts or anything like that. But I wasn't stupid. I started thinking maybe someone was playing a prank. Or worse, casing the place. You know, knocking to see if anyone was home. So I installed cameras. Cheap ones. One on the back porch, one by the front door. And I told myself I was being proactive. That this was the smart thing to do. What I didn't expect, was that the camera would catch nothing. The knock kept happening. Always just once. Always at 3 o'clock. But when I checked the footage, there was nothing there. No person. No animal. No movement. Nothing. Just a still shot of the door. No one approaching. No one leaving. It made no sense. Then, things escalated. One night, I was watching TV. This was maybe a week after I set up the cameras, and I heard a soft scraping sound from the hallway. Not a knock this time. Scraping. Like fingernails, dragging across dry wall. It was slow. Methodical. I muted the TV and listened. Scrape, scrape, scrape. I stood up, heart in my throat, and walked down the hall. I could still hear it, definitely coming from the wall to my right. A spot with no doors, no vents, nothing. I put my hand on the wall. It was ice cold. And then it stopped. Just like that. No explanation. I spent the night on the couch with every light in the house on. I know how this all sounds. If someone had told me this story back then, I would have called it sleep deprivation or stress or paranoia. But I was awake. And over the next few nights, it got worse. Things began moving. Small at first, a lamp angled differently, my keys not where I left them. Then, my bedroom closet door started opening on its own. I'd close it. Lock it, even. And I'd wake up to find it cracked open an inch. Always just enough to see inside. But never enough to make a sound. It felt deliberate. Like something wanted me to notice. One night, I finally snapped. I stayed up, sitting in my room with the lights off, closet door shut and latched. I had a kitchen knife in my hand and my camera feed open on my phone. I don't know what I was expecting. Some shadowy figure to appear? A hidden passage in the wall? My rational brain was desperately trying to logic its way out. And then, at 3:00 a.m., the knock came again. But this time, it wasn't at the door. It was inside the house. The knock came from the hallway this time. Just one. Soft. Like knuckles on plaster. I sat frozen in the chair, knife still in my grip, my thumb trembling on the edge of the phone screen. The hallway was pitch dark. I didn't move. I barely breathed. Then came the second sound. A whisper. Right behind the door to my bedroom. I couldn't make out the words. It sounded like someone breathing out syllables, just barely human. Like a voice underwater. Too quiet to be clear, too strange to ignore. I got up slowly and walked toward the door. My heart was pounding so loud I couldn't hear anything else. I reached for the knob and opened it just an inch. The hallway was empty. I stepped out. The air was colder than it should have been. And then, I saw it. Not a person. Not a shadow. Just handprints. On the wall. 5 of them. Small. Like a child's. Streaked downward, like something had dragged its fingers across the paint. I touched one. It was wet. Not blood. Not paint. Just wet. The smell hit me next. Damp earth. Like wet soil from deep in the ground. It came from the walls, as if the house itself was breathing it in and out. That's when I remembered something I'd almost forgotten. The basement. When I first bought the place, I was told the basement was sealed. Something about a cracked foundation, not safe to walk around down there. And honestly, I never bothered. The door was padlocked and I didn't have the key. But that night, I needed to know. I went into the garage and found my bolt cutters. The lock came off easier than it should have. Like it had already been weakened. I opened the basement door, and a rush of cold air hit me in the face. It was damp, moldy like something that hadn't been opened in years. The steps creaked with every footfall. I had my flashlight and the kitchen knife. Like those two things together meant anything. I reached the bottom. It wasn't what I expected. The walls were covered in markings scratched into the concrete with what looked like nails or a knife. Circles. Symbols. One of them I recognized as Ev, the kind used in rituals, but I didn't know which one. And in the far corner, a pile of dirt. Fresh. Like someone had just buried something. I didn't move. I couldn't. My legs locked in place, and I stared at that mound for what felt like an hour. Then came the sound again. Knock. This time, from inside the basement. Right behind me. I turned fast, flashlight sweeping across the walls. Nothing. But the air had shifted heavier now, harder to breathe. Then my flashlight flickered, and went out. I stood in the dark, holding my breath, listening. And I heard it. Footsteps. Light. Barefoot. On concrete. Coming toward me. I ran. Nearly tripped on the stairs. Slammed the basement door shut and bolted it with a chair. I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room until sunrise with every light on and my back to the wall. I told myself I imagined it. That it was a panic attack. But then I checked the basement door the next morning, and found 5 muddy footprints. Going up the stairs. And stopping at the door. After that, I started staying with a friend in town. I only went back to the house during the day, just to grab a few things. But each time I went, something was different. More scratches on the wall. Furniture slightly moved. One time, I found every single cabinet door in the kitchen standing wide open, perfectly aligned. And the basement, the dirt pile was gone. Flattened. Like someone had dug it up. I started looking into the house's history. It wasn't easy. The records were thin, especially for anything before the 1970s. But I did find something buried in an old newspaper archive. Back in the 1940s, a family lived there. Husband, wife, one child. The husband was a minor. The wife died suddenly, no cause listed. And the child disappeared. No investigation. No missing persons report. Just a single line in the paper. No remains were ever recovered. I don't know what happened in that house. I don't know what I let in, or what had already been there waiting for me. All I know is, once I left, I really left, I never went back. But sometimes, in the dead of night, when I'm in bed, far from that house, far from the town, I still hear it. Knock. Just once. Always at 3 a.m. I tried everything to make it stop. Therapy. Cleansing rituals. Psychics. I even had a priest bless the apartment I moved into. But nothing worked. I knew it wasn't the house anymore. It followed me. Or maybe I brought it with me. I think about that a lot. About how many ways something can attach itself to you. Not just objects. Not just places. Sometimes, it's you. It doesn't show itself often. It never does more than knock. Or leave signs. Shadows where light should be. Wet footprints on dry carpet. The smell of soil. But it's always just enough to remind me. It's still here. Waiting. Watching. And every time I think I'm starting to forget, it escalates. It was 2 years ago when it reached its peak. I'd been doing okay. Living in a small apartment near the city. Bright place, top floor. No basement. Nothing old or creaky. And for a while, I almost convinced myself it was over. Then, one night, I woke up at 3 a.m. Not because of the knock. But because my bedroom door was open. Wide open. I never sleep with it open. And right there, at the foot of my bed, was the child. Just a silhouette. Small. Motionless. I couldn't breathe. My body froze, locked in some kind of sleep paralysis. But my eyes were wide open. And I swear, it was looking at me. Its head tilted slightly. Like a bird. Like it was trying to understand me. I couldn't scream. Couldn't blink. I just stared as it slowly stepped backward into the hallway, and disappeared. The next morning, I found my apartment covered in dirt. Thin layers of soil across the hardwood floors. My bathroom sink clogged with muddy water. Even handprints, small, wet ones on the mirror. That's when I knew, this wasn't random. It wasn't a haunting in the traditional sense. It was ritualistic. Deliberate. So I went back to the house. I shouldn't have. But I did. The place was boarded up now. Condemned after the foundation collapsed last year. Or at least, that's what the file said. But when I stood there, staring at the rotting structure, I knew it hadn't fallen apart. It had been swallowed. Like the earth wanted it back. I broke in. Climbed through a busted window in the kitchen. The air inside was thick. Wet. The kind of humidity that clings to your lungs. I didn't bother with a flashlight. I knew where to go. The basement. But something had changed. There was no floor anymore. Just a hole. A wide, gaping pit in the center of the basement dug deep into the earth, lined with roots and stone. It was as if the house had been growing it. Feeding it. And at the bottom, was a figure. Bent backward, limbs too long, mouth open wider than any human mouth should open. It didn't speak. It just stared up at me. I stepped closer. Close enough to see its eyes. And they were mine. I don't remember how I got out. I don't remember the drive home. All I know is I woke up in my apartment the next morning, covered in dirt. The bottoms of my feet were stained brown. My hands filthy. My mouth tasted like copper. Something changed that night. It wasn't just following me anymore. It was inside me. Now, every night, I wake at 3 o'clock. I try not to move. I try not to breathe. Because if I do, I'll hear it. The knock. Not on the walls anymore. Not even in the apartment. But from inside my chest. Like something trying to get out. It's strange, the things your mind does when you're trying not to go insane. At first, I thought I was dreaming. That everything since the house had been one long nightmare bleeding into waking life. But nightmares end. This never does. For a while, I stopped sleeping altogether. I'd stay up until my body couldn't take it anymore, then I'd jolt awake after only a few minutes, heart pounding, skin soaked in cold sweat, convinced I was still underground. There's a kind of sleep that isn't sleep at all. It's like drowning with your eyes open. You feel yourself slipping under, but you're still aware. You see the ceiling. You hear the faucet drip. You hear the breathing. That's what started next. Not mine. Not the neighbors. Breathing from under my bed. Always just as I drifted into that shallow half-sleep. A slow inhale, a rasping exhale. Wet. Uneven. Like someone with lungs full of soil. I started recording audio at night. Not video, just sound. When I played the recordings back, I found gaps. Long, silent stretches. Then suddenly, bursts of noise, shuffling, a whisper, the creak of a floorboard. But the worst was this one moment. Exactly 3 a.m. There's a pause. Then a voice. Low, hoarse, whispering just one word. Underneath. I didn't sleep again for 3 days. I had to know what it meant. So I started digging. Literally. I remembered something the first night it knocked. I heard it from the back door. The second time too. I always assumed it was just trying to get in. But what if it was trying to draw me there? I went back to the yard behind the old house. The property was fenced off, condemned. But I found a way in, just like before. I brought a shovel. Started digging near the old foundation. Right where the back steps had been. The soil was loose. Too loose. Like it had been turned recently. I dug about 2 feet down before I hit something. Wood. Old, rotting, broken in places. A hatch. I cleared the dirt away and pried it open. Beneath it, wasn't another basement. It was a tunnel. No one ever told me the house had a sublevel. It wasn't on any blueprint. Wasn't listed in the property records. I should have stopped there. Called someone. Covered it up. But I didn't. I climbed down. The tunnel was cramped, earthen walls damp and pulsing with roots. I had to crawl on hands and knees. My flashlight flickered the moment I passed the threshold. The air grew thick again. That same smell, wet soil, rot, and something sweet and sickly. Like dead flowers. The passage curved downward. I don't know how far I went. Time stopped meaning anything. My limbs felt heavy. My eyes were stinging. And then I saw it. A chamber. Lit by candles that should not have been burning. There were symbols all over the walls again, some scratched, some painted. In the center was a stone basin. And inside, hair, teeth, and something that looked like a child's shoe. I backed out. Crawled until my knees bled. Climbed up, sealed the hatch, buried it all again. But something followed me out. Not a sound. Not a shadow. but a presence. I could feel it. Thick in the air. Sticking to the back of my neck. Watching me from mirrors. Sometimes, when I walk past reflective surfaces now, I see two of me. One moving slightly out of sync. Sometimes smiling when I'm not. This isn't over. I know that now. This thing, whatever it is, it doesn't just haunt. It multiplies. It grows. It spreads. I think it wants me to tell this story. To pass it on. Maybe by hearing it, you've already let it in. Maybe tonight, at 3 a.m., you'll hear it too. Just a single knock. Nothing more. At first, I don't go outside much anymore. I used to think sunlight was safe. That daylight meant nothing bad could happen. But I was wrong. It doesn't care about light or dark. It only cares about awareness. Whether you see it or not. Whether you acknowledge it. And I did. The sounds started up again. Only this time, they were coming from under the floorboards. Not in the basement. Beneath the living room. It began as scratching. Gentle. Like someone dragging their fingernails across wood. I thought maybe it was rats. Or birds nesting in the crawl space. Then came the knocking. Rhythmic. Almost calm. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks again. I pressed my ear to the floor one night. And I heard it. A voice. It wasn't speaking in any language I knew. But it meant something. Every syllable hit like a whisper straight into my chest. Not through the air, but inside my bones. I recorded it. Played it backward. And this time, it spoke clearly. You're the door now. After that, things stopped behaving the way they should. Mirrors stopped reflecting me correctly. I would turn away, and still see myself watching. Sometimes smiling. Sometimes mouthing something silently. Always slightly off. Electronics flickered. Lights turned on when I walked away from them. But the worst part was the smell. The smell of wet earth. It followed me. Everywhere. Even to places I hadn't been yet. I started noticing others. People in the street, walking strangely. Heads tilted. Mouths moving, but no sound coming out. I'd look away for a second and they'd vanish. Or worse, be standing right behind me when I turned again. One night, I followed one of them. Just to see if they were real. She walked like her limbs didn't quite belong to her. Like she was being moved by something outside her body. She turned down an alleyway. I followed. She was gone. But on the wall, written in what looked like charcoal or ash, were 3 words. You remember wrong. That's the part that scares me the most now. Memory. What if this didn't start with the house? What if I'd been seeing it my whole life? What if the story I'm telling you is only how I remember it? And what if the real version, the one I forgot, is worse? A few days ago, I found something strange in my own handwriting. A letter. Folded and buried in the back of one of my old journals. I don't remember writing it. The paper was yellowed, like it had been hidden for years. It said, "If you're reading this, it means you've let it speak again. Don't listen. Don't write it down. It doesn't want to be seen. It wants to be believed. And once you believe it, it can wear your skin. Burn this." I didn't burn it. I couldn't. Because now, I think I'm the only one left who remembers what really happened down there. I wake up now in strange places. Yesterday morning, I was standing in the middle of the woods. Barefoot. Clothes covered in soil. No memory of how I got there. But in my hand. A child's shoe. The same one I saw in the basin underground. Except now, it had a name written inside the sole. My name. It's not just me. I used to think it was. That this thing had singled me out. That it chose me because I disturbed something ancient, or broke some unwritten rule. But now, I think I was just next. It started with a forum thread. Some old paranormal board from the early 2000s. I don't even remember what I was looking for that night, probably trying to prove to myself that I wasn't alone. The thread was called "The Ones Who Knock at 3. It only had 6 replies. The original post was short. Just a story from a woman who woke up every night at 3 a.m. to the sound of 3 knocks on her window. Then her door. Then her mirror. She said they never opened anything. Never came inside. Not until she answered. She disappeared 6 days after the last post. I tracked down one of the users who'd replied. It wasn't easy. The account was anonymous, inactive for nearly 20 years. But I found a username match linked to an old blog. The blog hadn't been updated since 2011, but the final entry chilled me. It was a short paragraph. I know what the knocking is now. It's not a ghost. It's not a demon. It's memory. Trying to claw its way back into your life. Don't answer it. Don't dig. Or it becomes real. I think it already is. There was an address listed on the page. Half a state away. I drove there. The house was abandoned. Overgrown, windows broken, mail piled on the porch. But someone had been inside recently. There were footprints in the dust. Fresh ones. I forced the door open. The air inside was dead still. No animals. No sounds. But the smell was there. Damp earth. Rotten wood. And something else, something burned. On the living room wall, scrawled in a shaky hand, were these words. We who knock are not outside. We are what you buried. We are what you forgot. And now you've remembered. I should have left. But something pulled me deeper into the house. There was this sense, like the rooms were watching me. Like the air was listening. I found a small bedroom in the back, and inside, laid out neatly on the bed, were dozens of photographs. Faces. All of them with their eyes scratched out. And beneath every photo was the same word, over and over, like a label. Door. I grabbed one of the photos. And as soon as I did, I heard it again. The knock. 3 times. This time, from inside the closet. I ran. I didn't look back. Not even once. Drove for hours without stopping, until the sun came up and the radio started working again. I still have that photo. I don't know why I kept it. I tell myself I'm researching. That I'm collecting evidence. But I think, deep down, I already know what it means. All those people. They were like me. They remembered something they weren't supposed to. And once you do, you become a door. I woke up last night at exactly 3 a.m. But I didn't wake up the way I usually do. There was no jolt. No feeling of being trapped in my own body, unable to move. No cold sweat or panic. Just silence. An empty room. I laid there for what felt like hours, just listening to the silence. Not even the usual hum of the fridge. Not the creak of the house settling. Then I heard it. A thud. A heavy, deliberate thud, like something large and slow moving just outside my door. But the thing is, I didn't hear it. Not in the usual sense. I felt it. It resonated in my bones. My heart. It was like a low hum that shook my entire body, like I was connected to it somehow. And then came the whisper. A voice in my ear, soft and close. You opened the door. You are the door. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. My throat was dry, but no sound came out. I could only stare ahead. And that's when I saw it. Not the shadow in the corner. Not the shape of something that doesn't belong. But something else. Something far more disturbing. A gaze. It wasn't like a normal gaze. It wasn't human. It was like looking into an abyss. Into something empty. Hollow. It was staring at me from the very walls, from the cracks in the wood, from the ceiling above. I could feel it from all sides. The worst part? I didn't see it. But I knew it was there. And it was looking at me. I tried to scream. I tried to blink, to shake myself awake, but nothing happened. I had to get up. I had to run. But my body wouldn't move. So I laid there, unable to look away from that empty gaze. Until it started to speak. You didn't bury it deep enough. That's when I understood. The house, the soil, the pictures, the voices, everything was part of the same thing. A cycle. Each time I think it's over, it comes back. Each time I try to hide, to bury it, it finds me again. It finds everyone. I didn't sleep last night. I couldn't. I just kept staring into the darkness, listening to that thudding, waiting for the knock to come again. This time, it will be different. I know that now. It isn't just trying to get inside anymore. It's trying to wear me down. I went back to the old house today. Don't ask me why. Part of me thinks I'm trying to break the cycle. Part of me thinks I'm trying to understand it before it drives me mad. I crawled through that same broken window again. The air inside was different. There was something new. Something alive in it. The smell was stronger. More pungent. Like something decaying inside the walls. I made my way to the basement again. But this time, the hole was gone. The pit that had swallowed everything, the basin, the tunnel, the door, it had been filled. The floor was solid. There was nothing left. Except for the feeling. The same one I had when I first saw that thing in the dark. The sense that something wasn't right. That's when I saw it. A symbol. Scrawled on the floor in dust. It looked like it had been there forever, but it was only now visible. A circle, with jagged lines cutting through it. And in the center, a single word. Awaken. I ran out of there, the walls closing in around me. It wasn't just the house anymore. The whole world felt wrong. Every reflection, every shadow, every movement. It was all off. It wasn't until I was back in my apartment that I realized what had changed. I couldn't see myself in the mirror anymore. Not because the reflection wasn't there. But because I wasn't there. I was standing in front of the glass, watching the world move around me, but when I looked into my own eyes, I couldn't see them. I couldn't see anything but that hollow gaze. I don't know how much time has passed. Days? Hours? Minutes? It doesn't matter anymore. The walls are closing in. I can feel it. The air feels wrong. Like it's thick, suffocating. Pressing on my chest. I thought I was safe for a while. After leaving the house, I thought maybe I could outrun it. That maybe it was all in my head. That if I just ignored it, it would fade away. But I should have known better. You can't escape something that's already inside you. It started with the voices again. Not just the whispers from the floorboards or the walls. Those are expected by now. No, this time, it was inside my head. It was like hearing your own thoughts, but twisted. Disjointed. Fragments that didn't belong. At first, it was just a word. The same word that had been written on the floor of the basement, awaken. Then came others. Remember. Look closer. They're waiting. I tried to shut it out. I even tried to scream, but nothing came out. I haven't spoken in days. The worst part? I think they're starting to see me. It's like, when you're watching someone from the corner of your eye, and you swear they're watching you back. Only it's not just people. It's everything. The chairs. The windows. The shadows. I can feel them staring at me. Not with eyes, but with presence. Like something that's been there, watching, waiting for me to notice. And now I have. Last night, I heard the knocking again. 3 times. I didn't even try to hide. I didn't even move. I couldn't. It was like the sound was inside my bones. I opened the door. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I was curious. Maybe I was looking for some kind of closure. But when I opened it, there was nothing. Nothing at all. Just the hallway. But the air felt heavy. Like something was pressing on me. Something I couldn't see. And that's when I heard it. A voice, cold and hollow, speaking from nowhere. We're already inside. I ran. I had to. I'm not sure where I'm running to anymore. I don't know if there's any place left to escape to. I've been here in this apartment for hours. Or maybe days. I can't tell anymore. The knocking hasn't stopped. It never does. It's always there now. A constant rhythm in the back of my mind. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks again. It's like a countdown. And every time it knocks, I feel myself getting weaker. More distant. Like my body isn't mine anymore. Like I'm disappearing into the dark. I went to the window earlier, just to check if anything had changed. But I couldn't see anything. I looked out at the street, but it felt wrong. The lights were flickering, the cars stopped in the middle of the road as if time had frozen. And then I saw it. The reflection in the glass. It wasn't me. It wasn't anyone I recognized. It was just empty. A figure, moving slowly, obscured in shadow, its face blank and featureless. But I knew it was looking at me. It was waiting. The worst part? I don't think I'm supposed to be here anymore. I'm starting to feel like I'm not real. Like I'm just a part of whatever is watching. A part of whatever is waiting. But I don't know what it wants from me. I don't know what it wants from anyone. All I know is that it's getting closer. It's coming for all of us. I don't sleep anymore. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see it. Not the thing that knocks. Not the hollow gaze. But something far worse. It's like a presence in the dark. A force that's growing stronger with every passing second. It's like the world is collapsing, but it's collapsing around me. It's like I'm trapped in a place that doesn't belong to me anymore. The darkness pulls at me. It pulls at me. I'm starting to feel it. The pull. The sensation of falling, but there's no ground to fall into. Just endless space. I can't leave the apartment. Every time I try, it's like I'm walking through the same hallways, over and over. The doors that were once exits are now just walls. The windows that once opened to the street now lead to nothing. I've stopped trying to leave. I can't. I've accepted it. I've accepted that whatever's happening, it's inside me now. It's not just knocking anymore. It's inside my mind. It's inside my soul. The voices come and go. They're like whispers at first, but they're getting clearer. More distinct. And they're calling me. Calling me by name. They know my name. But there's something wrong with it. They say it differently. With a twist. A taint. It sounds almost like my own voice, but not quite. A false echo of me. And every time they call, I feel myself slipping further away. But it's not just my name they call. It's everyone's name. I hear the whispers in the air, in the walls, in the dark corners of the room. Everyone is here. Everyone who's ever been touched by it. And it's reaching out, pulling us all together. There was a moment, just a moment, when I thought I might wake up. I was sitting in the corner of the room, staring at the ceiling, when the shadows moved. It was subtle at first. Just a slight shift, a ripple across the wall. But then it started to grow. They weren't shadows anymore. They were figures. Figures without faces. Figures without bodies. Just shapes, swarming, twisting. They came closer. They surrounded me. And then I saw it. In the center of the room. A door. Not a door I'd seen before. It was wrong. It didn't belong in this place. It wasn't made of wood or metal. It was something else. It was alive. The door pulsed. It breathed. And it was waiting for me. I'm not sure what happened after that. I think I opened it. I think I stepped through. Because when I woke up, I was no longer in the apartment. I was somewhere else. I don't know where I am. It's like everything I knew has been stripped away. The air feels thick here, but not in the way it did in the apartment. It's colder, sharper. Like it's pressing in from all sides. There's no light. No sound, except for the sound of my own breathing. And the whispers. They're here, too. They've followed me. But they don't sound like the voices from before. They're different now. More urgent. More hungry. They've changed. They're twisting. They're becoming something else. And I think I'm starting to become something else, too. I don't know how much time has passed. I don't know if time even exists here. The shadows move in ways that don't make sense. The air bends, shifts, like it's breathing with me. And then I see it. A figure. It's not a person. It's something else. Tall. Thin. Hollow. Just like the gaze I saw in the mirror. I can feel it watching me. I can feel it inside me. It's getting closer. I've been here too long. I know that now. It's inside me. It's everywhere. And there's nothing left to do but wait. Because it's already too late. I hear it. The last knock. It's outside the door. But it's not just outside anymore. I can feel it inside. I can feel it in my chest. It's the knock that changes everything. It's the last one. I don't know how to end this. I don't think I can. But I've learned something. The knocking, it never stops. Because we are the door. And once it knocks, you open. You always open. Dear listener. Thank you for joining me on this terrifying journey into the unknown. I hope the whispers, the knocks, and the shadows linger in your mind, even after the story ends. If you enjoyed the tale, be sure to subscribe, like, and share with others who dare to listen. And remember, be careful what you invite in. Some doors should never be opened. Sleep well, if you can, and until next time, when the night calls again. Good night.